So, good Thursday evening. I think it's Thursday. Welcome to Tapes to Flag podcast. This evening, we are delighted to be joined by Dill as normal, and we've got Dan Thompson as a special guest. How are we doing this evening, gents?
All
Yeah, all good, man.
good, thank you.
The weather's a bit crap, so we'd rather be doing anything else than sitting talking about Speedway.
You know how it goes.
Do you wanna lead us away, Palmer?
So, I did have a question in my head. I can't remember it now.
Start Ipswich.
Bloody hell. But yeah, you had a very good 2025 season. To be fair, you won the Premiership with Ipswich, and you come astonishingly close with Glasgow. How do you use that as preparation for next season?
Yeah, it was good. It was my first senior league title. I think been very close the last 3 years with Ipswich, so it was nice to get that over the line. And I think we came as close as you can physically get to winning a title in the Championship, but we just missed out, which did hurt a lot of the time. But that's been and gone now, and full focus on racing for Edinburgh and Leicester next year.
And what was the mood in the camp like on that night at Glasgow?
It was the atmosphere at Glasgow is always pretty special, even when it's just regular league meetings. So yeah, when we managed to get through in the semi final against Edinburgh, which was kind of against the odds, the place was absolutely bouncing. But yeah, we kind of felt we were slipping away from Poole, and then there was that big decision in Heat 13, which swung a 5-1 back to us, and suddenly we thought this is game on. But yeah, to lose it the way we did was pretty hurtful, but at the same time, I think we did exceptionally well to take it that far.
As a rider, you finished up that meeting with Glasgow, and you had to put that disappointment behind you. You still had meetings to come. How do you sort of refocus and regroup and put the disappointment behind you to carry on doing the best you can?
Yeah, I will admit it was a long drive home that night, thinking about different things that could have changed the outcome. There was a few bike problems as well, which it's hard to think about, but one of them problems not happening, and there's a league title in your belt. At the same time, I think my last heat, I was struggling for speed and I got past, so you can't blame it on the boys who were in the super heat. It was all a collective effort, and at some point we all slipped up somewhere, and Poole were the champions and just have to go again next year.
And how did the move to Glasgow come about? Obviously, you'd had a really good season the year before at Plymouth, and then Glasgow come in. And I imagine it's a little bit like Poole. If Glasgow come in, you immediately listen.
Yeah, well, I've always found it's riding for the top clubs that are normally in the playoffs. It gives you extra motivation, and it's the people say they don't like riding with the pressure of clubs. I was told not to go to Glasgow because of pressure, but I'm one of the riders that kind of like riding under pressure. It gives you the extra boost to know you have to perform, or there be some form of consequence. But that wasn't the case at Glasgow anyway. Everyone was lovely, and I just went out to do my job every time and got the full support I needed.
Do you think you'll get such support when you go back there this year?
Yeah, I think so. It's the obviously delighted to race for Edinburgh. It's actually become one of my favourite tracks. But at the same time, the move was made because of the new rule coming in. So whether I would have been at Glasgow or not anyway, I'm not sure. But the rule basically forced me out anyway. So yeah, it wasn't my decision to leave. In effect, I had to leave. But all the fans will still be good to me, and I've had nice messages from the owners and Cammy as well. So there's no hard feelings, and hopefully one day I can be back there.
And I think Palmer's got a question to ask from a Glasgow fan that was sent in to us.
I do. So this has come from Alan McNally saying, "What was your favourite moment from riding for Glasgow this season?"
I'm not sure if I can put my finger on a specific moment, but it was just the whole atmosphere at the club, all the staff, the people there. I'd never really had that at a club before until I arrived in Glasgow for the first day, and I remember I'd had a crash the night before with Ipswich, and I was feeling second hand, and I got up there for press and practice, and I just had food and drinks waiting for me, and all the stuff I could possibly need to be able to do my job that night. Which we were actually going to Edinburgh, and yeah, we did win at Edinburgh that night. So yeah, it was just everything. The whole season was perfect, and even though I'm moving away, there's no bad words I can say about Glasgow.
And there's also a question, ironically, from an Edinburgh fan that Palmer's got for you.
So it is from Emily Johnstone. Emmy Johnstone, sorry. How are you feeling about heading into the season as Edinburgh's #1 and with the pressure that comes with it?
Yeah, I don't really see any pressure on my shoulders. It's every position is the same. I think really, whether you're riding at 3 or 5, they're all very similar. I know one's slightly harder, but it doesn't really bother me. Of the last few seasons, I've felt pretty strong against all the heat leaders, and I've beaten all the #1s in the league. So yeah, it will be a step up and a challenge, but I'm not scared of it. And yeah, Edinburgh's probably one of my strongest tracks now, so hopefully that'll make a good home advantage.
This is a bit of a random one actually, but last season you raced for 2 clubs that had bike covers, like team bike covers and stuff. Will you be having your own individual ones back on this year with with changing clubs that don't have those things?
Yeah, it has been quite nice. Obviously, I've been with Ipswich a few seasons, so I've always had covers with them, and Glasgow had their own as well. So made it a bit. It was nice, but it was difficult as well because I didn't really have my own sort of colour scheme because of obviously Ipswich is the yellow and black, and Glasgow's bright red. So I kind of just went standard black with all my bikes, and then just put each covers on when I needed them. But this year Leicester's red and yellow, and Edinburgh's blue, and my Polish team's blue and pink. So gonna be yeah, I've got to do some thinking about what colours I'll go with.
And you touch on Ipswich there, the long-awaited league title for Ipswich. Obviously, it was your second season with Ipswich as well, and you played a pivotal role with it. Moving up from Rising Star in 24 to then be in the main body and then back to reserve. But it was such a well-built Ipswich team last year and the year before.
Yeah, there's a lot of continuity with it because each season that we just slipped up, the team was either the same or last season we just added Tom, and Tom was flying the season before that, so we knew we were only getting stronger. And yeah, the last few years I think on paper we've been favourites, and obviously Doyley and Emil got injured last year, and me and Doyley got injured in the season as well. So yeah, it's tough to get around them injuries, but we did it in the end, and I think that kind of left my time at Ipswich on a good note, and hopefully the new owners and what's going on there will be positive.
We've got a question in the live chat from someone you may know. Ryan Ingram says, how does Dan feel about coming to Scunthorpe when he has to face a strong #7?
Yeah, I do know little Ryan very well, actually. I don't fear the #7, to be honest. Yeah, I did actually have the opportunity to potentially come to Scunthorpe, but one or two things just didn't quite work out for me there. So I've obviously gone to Edinburgh, but would have been cool to ride with Rocket. He's a good guy, and I'm sure when he does finally beat me, it's going to be a long story, and I'll never hear the end of that.
And is it nice to see someone you're such good pals with progress up? And obviously, first league season at National League this year did really well, and now he's took that step up as well. Is it nice to see good people doing well and getting opportunities?
Yeah, I mean he hasn't sort of had everything handed to him on a plate. There's a lot of youngsters where they've had millions of AB race cruisers before they're 16, and they've had all the top of Grand Prix level equipment, and he's just kind of steadily built himself up, and obviously he's a really nice guy as well, working with him and living with him at times. But no, see him get his championship debut, that'll be cool. I was practicing with him at the start of last year, and to be honest, he was pretty dangerous. But now he's a solid heat leader, and that just shows how far he's come. He's winning races and looks confident as well.
And there was a little bit of surprise when Ipswich announced that they, were up for sale. Did you have any inkling to that? Had it been spoke about, or did that come as a shock to you as well as everybody else when that was announced?
Yeah, no, I didn't really have any idea about the sale of the club. It was it's a bit strange after each season. You're kind of getting messages here and there, phone calls from teams before the season's ended and just after, and I didn't hear anything from Ipswich for weeks after we won the title. So I kind of thought, oh, I'm not in the plans for next season, which I had other offers, so I wasn't panicking about. But obviously, then we found out no one had any contact because it was going up for sale. But I'd actually kind of agreed with Leicester to do a deal with them before we'd even raced the grand final. So regardless of the outcome of them finals, I was kind of already headed away, because I think my time at Ipswich, I've learned so much. But with what I've got on my plate for this season, I needed to be closer to home and also on a track that I know I can really score some points on.
And you are almost heading home to Leicester. Obviously, you were there for a period of time before moving away. Is it nice to go back there and work with Stuart and everyone there again?
Yeah, I mean, it's for me, it's about putting right what went wrong last time. I was obviously sacked when I was quite young, which was fair enough because the move worked out for both Leicester, and it worked for me as well. But I think I'll go back there a lot stronger rider, and it's still one of my favourite tracks. So yeah, I'm quite confident about the move.
And I think Palmer's got another question that was sent in to us.
For Mike Sweeney, says, who was your favourite rider to watch growing up?
There'd have to be a few. I couldn't name just one rider, but obviously the main ones are got to be Scott, Bomber, and King. Just I was a Coventry B supporter, being local to Coventry when I was young, so watching them guys going around Coventry, that was kind of the inspiration. And then obviously Emil signed there. I was kind of come back from school and found out Emil was coming to Coventry, and that was just a massive shock. And then watching him race at Coventry was super cool, and then to be in a team with him is a different story.
That's an interesting point you raised there. Where did your love of Speedway come from? Like, how was it born?
The first track I ever went to was Weymouth. I was actually on holiday and we went to watch the Wildcats, and it was pretty cool. The smell and the atmosphere was a bit different then, with all the different the bikes and stuff. But then I started watching at Coventry, and eventually learnt on the mini track at Scunny with Wayne.
And you touch on that final, the Leicester and Ipswich final. It was obviously you versus Joe, so one brother was going to be going home with a league championship. Is that nice that you were both in there, or how was that internally as a family? Both of you being in that Premiership final.
Yeah, it was cool. I don't really like beating Joe, to be honest, because I'd rather take points and money off other people. but obviously we're both signed to do a job, and I have to go out and race him like he's anyone. Whereas funny because Dad said he was the only man in the stadium who couldn't lose because he was so well. He was guaranteed to get a league title under his belt.
It's a good way to look at it, that. And the irony is that you were racing for Ipswich in that final, and now you're racing for the team that you beat in that final this year coming up now. Speedway's a funny old game, isn't it?
Yeah, something I didn't quite really understand when I was younger about teams and stuff. When you drop from somewhere, it feels a bit personal, but you have to understand that numbers are numbers, and these things just happen. And I always knew there'd probably be a strong chance I end up back at Leicester one day, and I'll probably go back to Ipswich one day as well, the same as Glasgow. And that's why you can't really have any bad blood anywhere, because one day they might be your enemy, and the next day you might need them as your employer. So yeah, you got to try and just stay mature about everything, and even when bad things happen, just try to refocus and finish the seasons positively.
Palmer, you got anything else?
And something we haven't really touched on yet, but you got to ride in the SGP2 series and the SON2 last season. How much from that experience of riding in their meetings can you bring into this coming season?
Yeah, they both them competitions taught me a lot. The first round I wasn't mechanically or prepared properly. My organisation wasn't the best, and that showed on the track and in my score. So the next time I went out for the Latvian round, I had everything a lot better prepared, and the bikes were better, I was better. And then the final round in Voyens, I was a lot stronger again. So each round I made improvement, and then I finished strongly in the Son, scoring a good amount of points for the team. And yeah, they taught me a lot for this year, and I've signed in Poland for this season, which I think has come as a result of some of them performances.
And will there be movement over to other international countries as well? You know, your Denmarks, your Swedens, or will it be just Britain and Poland for the time being, and assess things at the end of each season?
Yeah, I'll just have to see how I start, and if I am offered other opportunities, then I'll just have to assess them and see what I can do. Obviously, taking on Poland is another step for me. But I think after next season, there's a rule coming in, so you can only ride in one other country other than Poland, I think. So that might restrict a lot of riders.
And as a fan before becoming a rider, and still a fan as a rider as well, is it concerning the way British Speedway is going? And obviously that rule you mentioned there from Poland for next year, you know, the restrictions are almost coming back. Is that concerning for the future of British Speedway and the Premiership as well?
Yeah, obviously, the state of the AGMs and stuff and the delays this year has been quite concerning, and it's kind of been the first year really where the two leagues almost needed to merge. And I think when that does happen, potentially British Speedway's on its way down, because the difference in the level of riders in a 7-man team would just be too much, and obviously the standard would decrease as well. Obviously, I've been at it for a few seasons in the UK, so I kind of know what it's all about and know financially what it takes and what you can get out of it as well. So I don't personally want much to change. It would be ideal if we could get a few more teams back in the top flight and sustain that and keep the two leagues separate, because I think if you're just racing in the UK 3 times a week is the bare minimum that makes it worthwhile doing. So if it went to one league and we were racing, say, once a week or something, then I think that would really affect it, and we would be looking at Speedway as a dying sport.
And it is really concerning to say that, because every year you see on forums and social media that our Speedway is going down and it's dying and stuff, and it always manages to survive. It generally does feel like it may be going down at this point.
Yeah, well, it's obviously not impossible to have success come back. Obviously, Oxford was a good success. I think potentially what they tried to do this year with the three teams was maybe a little bit of a too much of a push with obviously trying to get the same fan base to the stadium 3 times a week. Financially, for families, that might be a bit too much. But obviously the ambition's there and they're trying to push on, and that's what, being at Glasgow, I saw a lot of things that were positive, and the things they're trying to do, what they're trying to put in place. And I do think a lot of the other clubs need to take a leaf out of there. So yeah, it's not good to see some of the stuff that's going on, but there's still positives and potential new tracks that might be coming up. So we just have to wait and see.
Palmer, you got anything else?
I haven't off the top of my head, sir.
Oh, I've got a few, don't worry. So we touched on Plymouth earlier on, and that season in 2023 or 4 maybe, whichever year you were at Plymouth, that really kicked you on, and that was almost the turning point of you becoming the rider you are now, and at Championship level you are one of the best riders in the league now.
Yeah, Plymouth was a massively enjoyable year. That's why Fly and Ryan ended up there in the National League. Me and Joe kind of told him to go there because it teaches you a lot of you gating, and you have to be strong and firm on people to score, because if you're not strong in that first bend, then you come out last. It's difficult from there. So yeah, I think definitely Plymouth made me a harder rider, and I had such a great season there. I really didn't want to leave. I loved working with Gary May, and Mark Phillips was a pleasure to work with as well. The team was great, and I didn't want to leave, but I knew to progress and try and push into Poland, I needed to be on a bigger track to teach me new things, and that's why when the move to Glasgow came, I made it. And it did hurt to leave Plymouth and leave Joe there. But he loves the Coliseum. He's back there again, and I wouldn't rule out returning there. They've got a good side this year, and yeah, it is a good setup, and I think they are one of the clubs that are thriving and desperate to improve. Some of the atmospheres there was pretty special, like the last meeting with the fireworks and stuff. I do admire the effort that's going in.
And you strike me as somebody that doesn't like to leave unfinished business. You mentioned earlier, going back to Leicester, you had a score to settle. Are you somebody that, if you leave on a bad note, you will make it your intention to one day go back and write it? You don't want to leave any sort of pages unturned?
Yeah, well, when I was dropped from Leicester, I kind of knew as soon as Ipswich approached me that I looked at the calendar and seen when the fixture was away at Leicester, because naturally you want to go and respond and try and show that was the wrong move, and I managed to do that. I had a good successful night and we won away from home at Leicester. And it's just, I think to young riders, it's just about staying strong and staying positive, because a lot of the young riders decide to have a break and then fade away and leave the sport, and it does get really tough. But once you become more consistent and the scores start coming, then it gets easier and the pressure reduces. It's always hard when you're not scoring and the team's losing and stuff. Everyone looks at you like the weak link. But yeah, I improved and managed to put that right, and that's all been and gone now. I don't think about that. I achieved what I wanted to, and another new season's almost upon us.
And we'll just turn our attentions to the this year's now, and Edinburgh first. The Edinburgh team is announced in full. 2 riders going out, 2 coming in, yourself and Mitchell Clough. What are your thoughts on your teammates up at Edinburgh for this year, and what do you think can be achieved by you and the rest of the team up there?
Yeah, I get on really well with all the team, and I know Cloughie quite well from down at Plymouth, seeing him a lot last year, and all the other boys. I think Paco's got to be the nicest guy in Speedway. Yeah, it's a solid looking team, and hopefully I can try and do my job at the top, and we can all have a good, successful season together. I think there's 4 or 5 boys underneath me who are well capable of taking the spot off me. So I'll have to try and see how long I can keep that, or keep it all year.
And there's been a change in the rules for this season. The superheat is now gone, and a draw can now just be a draw. Is that a positive step or a step backwards, do you think? Did you enjoy the superheat, or would you just rather a draw when everyone goes home after 15?
I don't know. I personally enjoyed the superheat. I think it just adds a bit more pressure to the evening, and a bit more of a climax. I think a lot of people called it the silly heat, but I think we had a superheat against Edinburgh and a superheat against obviously Paul in the finale, and just kind of ramped up the atmosphere and the pressure, and it all comes down to that one heat to decide which way stuff's going to go. And yeah, I think a draw kind of feels a bit almost unresolved. I think if you're the away team, a draw feels a lot nicer than if you're the home team. So yeah, it doesn't really bother me. I don't think. Oh, I did participate in one superheat, that was at Skirney. Yeah, we did well in that one, but it doesn't really bother me too much. It's just up to the people who decide how they want the sport to go, and they've decided to scrap it, so that's their call.
And this year's a World Cup year as well, and we go back to the old World Cup format. Are you targeting that to be in that squad as a target with your sort of experience and performances in SON2 and GP2 and at Championship and Premiership level as well? Do you think that puts you in a good position to maybe force your way into that World Cup squad?
Yeah, I'll just keep on pushing and see where I can get to. Obviously, every year when I'm selected for things, I try and do as many of them as I can. There wasn't many times this year where I turned something down. I think it's important to do things even if you're going to be out of your depth or out of your comfort zone. If I was offered to be in the Grand Prix, I'd probably take it. It's just yeah, I think you got to try and take each opportunity, and you never know, they might turn out to be a positive. So yeah, it's not a specific aim of mine to be in that meeting, but if I was asked to do it, I'd definitely be up for it and give it my all.
Palmer, you thoughts of any more questions?
I'm struggling to think.
I've still got a few, don't worry. So you mentioned earlier as well, you've been out practicing with Ryan and Joe. You were at Leicester the other week. Is it important to stay sharp over the winter and get practicing where you can? And I assume you'll be down at Scunny at some point as well, with everybody getting some laps in and Workington do a lot of that as well. Is it just important for you to keep loose and keep active through the winter? And we're having a pretty crap winter at the moment.
Yeah, it is important, and it's also important not to get injured in the off season. So yeah, just take it steady, and had a good few practice races against Joe and Ryan the other week, and showed them the way around Leicester. And I'm sure Ryan will try and show me the way around Skirney. But I've got a pretty nice setup in my book now for the Eddie Wright Raceway, so Rocket won't be seeing that.
It is one that I've wanted to know for a while. Is Gate 4 at Scunny as advantageous early on as it's made out to be as a rider?
Yeah, that's kind of one of the... not that it annoys me, but when you go to a track where some of the gates are just absolute graveyards and the others it's like we played the Speedway Challenge game, and if I've sent the invite, I'll edit like gate 1 and put a mega grip all the way to the turn. So I make an absolute ripper, and the others are sat there still. It's kind of like that, because if you're off 2 and 4 in heat 1, the guy on the number 1 on the outside is he's only going to get beaten by the guy off gate 1, really, if the guy off gate 1's made a good one. So I think if you do make it off gate 3 in heat 1 at Scunny, you are a pretty sensational trapper.
And we've touched on some clubs closing. Obviously, Wolverhampton went, Peterborough went, and Birmingham have now gone as well. And it's it's up in the air as to what's going on. Is that as a rider, is it how does it feel seeing these tracks that have been around for years and years now closing?
Yeah, it's not good to see, and obviously the more we lose, the bigger the threat is that Speedway might become an amateur sport and lose their professional outlook. And from a rider point of view, obviously the finances and all the other stuff's out of our control. We have no input onto what the board does and the decisions they make, so we kind of have to sit and watch. But I know it sounds bad, but if a track does close, you do hope it's one of your bad tracks, that you have a stinker of meetings around. So yeah, Birmingham was a decent track for me. I had a good setup in my book, so it's sad to lose that one. I think the area wasn't prime for Speedway, as in the fans. It was quite difficult to get to and stuff. But yeah, obviously I think Swindon's been confirmed to go. Coventry's still hopeful. Coventry would be a great venue to come back, I think.
And whilst Brandon is still standing and still almost resembles a Speedway stadium, although there's a lot of work to be done, the hope is up that will come back one day and you'll get to go around there again as a more established rider now than you were when you were mascot back in the day there.
Yeah, it's a special stadium to me. It was a lot of memories from there, and watching a lot of the guys that I race with now, seeing some of the stuff Bomber did round there, and Scott. Yeah, it was kind of inspired me to race, and yeah, I'd probably be one of the people down there helping put everything right. One of the volunteers, if they were able to open again. It's hard to see it in that state, but a lot of people are doing good things behind the scenes, and hopefully one day there'll be some positive news.
And we've spoke about tracks closing. There are some opening again. Some of the team from Birmingham, Lawrence Rogers and his crew have gone down to Buxton, and now that's coming back and hoping to enter the National League, and they're opening up for practices. Will that be somewhere that you try and get to swing a few laps once it's up and running?
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool what Lawrence is doing at Buxton. I hadn't really thought about it. I didn't realise it was still in its complete state there either. So that can only be a positive. I see on Facebook a lot. They're putting in a lot of hard work, and yeah, it's looking good. I think they've had a few bits and bobs from other tracks. So yeah, I think Ryan's already messaged him asking him to be a test pilot. I'd probably join him if I was asked, to be fair, and give it a test.
And get the line noted in your little book just in case you need it in the future.
Yeah, you never know. And yeah, we have to see. I've only ridden Buxton once when I was about 12, so not sure if it'll be much different.
And you touched on playing SC and Speedway games. Do you have, do you memorise and make notes of lines on that? Because obviously you're a professional athlete and a competitive person to do the job you do. Does that come out in everything, or is SC just a little bit of fun for you?
Yeah, I am quite competitive on that, to be honest. I am also a bit sneaky. If I'm sending the invite, I'll add some grip where the others don't know where it is. But yeah, I do spend a lot of time on there. It's quite sad, actually.
but it's easily accessible and it keeps you going for a little bit whilst the winter's here and you can't get out on the bike with snow and stuff that we've got at the moment.
Yeah, well, I raced Joe and Ryan a lot on there, and some of our other friends, and I love nothing more than fencing Rocket when he's trying to get round me.
Brilliant. And finally, we asked Ryan this last week when we spoke to him if money and availability and past or present was no option. Who would be your dream 7 riders to a team if you were to build a speedway team?
I think I'd start with putting Ryan Ingram at 7. It'd be rude.
He's going to love that.
It'd be rude not to. I don't know if he'd ride for me anyway, though. But probably put Joe Thompson at 6. Probably have Emil and Doyley at 1 and 5, and then Bomber, Scott, Nichols, and Danny King in the middle.
Also, a very recent modern style team there.
Yeah, I think the 3, Scott, Bomber, and Danny, were kind of my watching them go at it in the British final at Monmouth Green was pretty cool, and they were kind of just the riders I grew up watching. And obviously, since I've been racing at Ipswich with Emil and Jason, you see the level of dedication and commitment and stuff they go through to be the best, and it just kind of inspires you to be like them. And just watching them teaches you a lot.
So you really have got to still be a fan whilst you've been racing at Ipswich and Glasgow, with riding with Bomber and Emil and Doyle at Ipswich as well. You really got to keep that fan side of you as well, to race with people you watched.
Yeah, I mean it's hard because I've progressed really well, and I was pushing Bomber a little bit for the highest averaging Glasgow team for a while, and that would suggest I'm near to his level. But then I'd see some of the stuff he'd do and think, like, that is unreal. I think I was saying he kind of has a switch in his brain where you see him just suddenly come alive, and then he just does it. He was guesting for us at Sheffield, and he was on lap 2. I think he was just chilling in about 3rd place, and then he was just like settled in 3rd, not really doing a lot. Then suddenly he just decided to rail the fence for 3 laps, and he was at the front by the end of the last lap. Out of nowhere. I was like, that's crazy.
And as a fan, and maybe not a teammate so much, but certainly watching as a fan of his, it's nice when he misses the gate, so you'll get the entertainment still.
Yeah, well, luckily I didn't have to be victim to any of his dive bombs at Glasgow this year, but I'm sure next year will be a different case.
I think that wraps us up, unless you've got anything to add, Palmer?
So I've got one little question because you mentioned SC.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the general Speedway fan base tends to be quite old. Do you think the British Speedway promoters should be like using Speedway Challenge as a way to get more youngsters into stadiums?
Yeah, I think so. It's, I mean, I'm a rider, and I certainly play it all the time. But yeah, I think it's a fun game. I think it's pretty basic, and the lines are actually very similar to in real life. The tracks, some of the tracks ride exactly how they ride in real life. You just do the same lines you'd do in real life. It's quite cool, but yeah, there needs to be some more form of interaction for kids to get them in the stadiums and off their consoles. But I don't know. I've always thought just 15 heats of racing is not really enough entertainment to get families out. There kind of needs to be something going on while the tractors are grading, or something pre-meeting, or just stuff like that. I'd happily get all the team out and bikes, take them into the crowd before a meeting, but obviously a lot of riders like to be in their zone, and they wouldn't do anything like that.
And touching on SC, have you ever raced around Leicester on first-person view? I tried that the other day, and after 4 laps, I felt really dizzy with how bouncy it was. Is Leicester actually like that, or have they done Leicester a disservice there?
Leicester is a bit different. I used to race on the top view where you look down, but I race so my rider's just in front of me and I can see what he's doing. Yeah, but Leicester's a little bit different. It's very easy to fence people off the corners. That's my killer move. I just straight line people and leave them there. I do. That's probably my biggest enjoyment. I just enjoy being a menace on there and making people angry. To be honest.
And we've just got to open out of the board, listen back to this, and hear that you like to change the grip of the lines before sending.
Yeah, no, they do catch me out because if I edit the start line, so just like on the inside of gate 1 is mega grippy all the way to the corner. But say in heat 1, I'll go off the outside so no one suspects it. And then when it gets to like heat 5, I'll bang it on the curb and I'm away and gone.
That's brilliant. I'm going to start doing that. I've got nothing else. Dan, have you got anything?
I've got nothing, but
do you want to wrap us up for this one then, Palmer?
So we've got to thank Dan for taking some time out to talk to us tonight. It is greatly appreciated. We will have some news coming soon on whenever we're going live next. Keep an eye on all our socials, but from